Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. This is Monday, August the 1st. This is Monday, August the 1st, and it is amazing how fast this year is going by us. It's already August. It's already all got just a few more months in this year. And I need to ask you a question about that. If you don't mind, I need to ask you a question. There's a lot going on. And one of the things that's going on is that fire, that massive fire that they have over there in California. Good morning, Bernard Mack. Good morning. Good to have you, Mr. Mack. Definitely good to have you with us this morning. And if you don't mind, share the broadcast, and continue to share the broadcast. I want to ask y'all a question about that fire that's going on over there in California. I mean, I look at it on the news. It's been burning for a while now, and there's been people that's been in attempts to get away from that fire, and attempts to try to get away from that fire. They've lost their lives. They've been found in their vehicles. They've been found in their vehicles trying to get away from that particular fire. And my question to you is this, and this is all, this is we don't know. Nobody know the answer to this question, truthfully. But by the word, do you think God is angry right now with all this stuff that He have going on? Let me say, I got my family coming in here. I got Bernard, Philip, Jesse, Daniel, Martin. Good morning, each and every one of you, man. Good morning to you all. I apologize, I can't call each one of your names. The screen is just a little ways away from me. I'm trying to do the best I can to acknowledge each and every one of you, and I'm definitely glad that you're here. But let me ask you that question. Do you think God is angry right now with all this stuff that's going on, with all these fires and all the other things that's going on, earthquakes and all kind of stuff that's going on in this world today? Do you think God is angry? Do you think God is angry with us? Good morning, John. Good morning. Good to have you, sir. Give me a call. My phone lines are open. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Phone lines are open. Give me a call and let me know what you think about this whole situation. Is God angry? Do you think God is angry with what's going on and everything that's going on with him? What's going on in this world, actually? Because it's a lot going on, man. And I'm seeing fire after fire after fire over there in California. And California is supposed to be one of the what they say, one of the lead states. One of the lead states. A lot of things either go through California or Texas first. And if all this stuff is happening, this stuff is being burned down and destroyed. Good morning. What's that say? Time the artist. Good morning, Time the artist. Good to have you. Do y'all think God is angry? Your president tested positive for COVID. They say he came up negative, and then they say he got a rebound case of COVID now. Now he got a rebound case of COVID. I saw a clip. I saw a clip not too long ago. I think it was Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford. I think it was Nixon. One of the two. I get them mixed up. And no disrespect, I just do. But and he was saying what he was saying in his interview. Somebody asked him, would there ever be a female president? And what he said is he don't think that a female president would be voted in per se. I'm gonna see can I find that clip so I can play it for you as well. But he said what would happen, there will be, he said, either a Democratic or Republican president, man, that will be voted into office, and he will have a female as his vice president. And he said, once he have that female as his vice president, the president won't live out through the term. And because he does not live out through the term, if a sitting president dies while in office, that title goes to the vice president. And he said that's how we're going to get a female president. He said because he really don't think it was President Ford. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Um, it say that he don't think that America would vote in a female president, and maybe that's why Hillary had such a hard time, because he said back in that, it was 1970 something. He said he don't think that they would vote in a female president, but through that process, we would get our first female president of the United States of America. Wow, wow. Um, Don't want anything to happen to Biden. Hope he live continue to live a long and a very gleeful. I say gleeful. I'm not gonna say prosperous. I say gleeful life. And gleeful could mean a whole lot of things: money, happiness, joy, peace, and all that stuff. I finance is one thing. I think people put too much emphasis on money, and so that's why I say I won't say prosperous in that way. Because when I say prosperous, which also can mean a lot of different things, but 9 times out of 10, when you say prosperous, first thing that comes to a person's mind is money. Oh, I'm about to get that money. I'm about to get that money. That's all they think about. But you could prosper in so many different ways. Badger, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Another beautiful and blessed day, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Did you ever see that clip? And it was told to me it was Ford.
Don't think so.
You didn't see that clip where Ford was back. He was an old clip back in 1970. I want to say around 76, and he was asked a question whether it would be a female president, and that's what he said. I'm trying to find it so I can play it for you. But do you
Okay.
think? Do you think? And he this happened back in around I'm saying around 1976, and this is 2022, and to this day, that's over 40 something years ago. He's absolutely right. There have not been a female president voted by the American people to lead this country. But
Yeah, no.
but
I think it's gonna be very dependent on who they finally decide to let in.
mhm,
If that makes any sense.
it does. Knowing the system and how it's set up, it makes a lot of sense actually. Go ahead.
Um, trying to figure out how to word it
Just say it, man.
because I think it like for mm,
Come on, man. You're killing me over there.
man, dude. Well, to me, it's a tough thing to answer because, in my opinion, the current state of America, I don't think a lot of men could handle a woman president. I think it hurt their poor little egos too much.
Mm. And you 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 could be right when you say that, but I look at it from a different angle sometimes because I think that regardless if a man is president of the United States, which it has been throughout the history, if he's a married man, if he's a married man, I think that there's already been a female president because I think a lot of times she's running the show anyway behind the scenes. She's running the show. Baby, what do I do about this? What do you think we should do about that? And then she give him an idea. He said, "Oh, that's good. That's good." Now, does he give her credit for that? A lot of times, man, you married like I'm married. We get in a situation. One of the first people we're gonna talk to is our wives. Baby,
Well,
I got,
yeah,
got this
that's the
situation going on.
intelligent man.
Yeah, I got this situation going on, baby. You know what? What a wise man gonna consult in his wife,
He posted the clip, by the way.
huh?
I said they posted the clip.
Somebody posted it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me go back. I'm on a lot of different screens. Okay, there it is. There it is. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm gonna play that clip so everybody can see it. But yeah, man. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play it in just a few minutes. But before I do that, I want to address Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we talking about the clip, and I'm gonna play it in a few minutes. Somebody just posted it for us, and I appreciate them doing that. Man, people, man, y'all are awesome, man. I said something about the clip this morning about the president Ford, and you might have seen it where he said that he was asked a question. I think a little girl asked, "Would there ever be a female president of the United States of America?" And he gave what he thought what the process would be. And what he said was, that America, and this was back in I think in 1976. He said America
Hmm.
won't vote her in as a president, but what will happen is they have a man, be it Republican or Democrat or whatever, would be the president of the United States of America, and he will appoint a female as the vice president of the United States of America, and he won't make it the term. And when the president passes on, the vice president is the one that actually takes over the office of of the president of the
Yeah.
United States of
Hmm.
America. And he says that is
Hmm.
how we're going to get our first female president. But as far as the American people voting her in as president, Hillary had all the qualifications in the world. But because
Yeah.
I think because she was female, I think that hurt her a lot. And there's a lot of churches out there. I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but there's a huge church out there that really went against Hillary and would not allow her to be president of the United States of America because she's female.
Mhm.
Cassandra, what do you say to that?
Well, this is where the church idea comes in about women. That women, and see, this is why you need to have wisdom and you need to know what the Word of God is really saying. When it says that a woman should not usurp authority over a man, that means take by force, or you understand what I'm saying? There is a difference between somebody, you know, being in an authority position of authority over a man, than her like being like taking it over and trying to control. That's a job. It's a job. The president of the United States is a job. It's a position. So if you're in a position, you're just doing a job. But when people see a female, I mean, oh, she's trying to be a man. Nobody wants to. I don't want to be a man. You understand? And I believe his prediction could come true with Biden. And I love Biden. I feel like his spirit agrees with me. Let me put it like that. I ain't gonna talk, and ain't nobody was gonna make the biggest difference. But I believe that if he was to pass, think about it. Kamala is next in line. She would step right into that position. You know, and at his age, that could very well happen.
And as a matter of, and that's what the clip is showing us. I'm gonna play this clip in a minute, but before I play the clip, we got somebody else with us this morning. We got Mr. Toussaint from all the letters. He's from a place that got all the letters in the alphabet in his description. I promise you, hadn't missed the letter. And now he just took over the church and he added some more letters. Toussaint, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Let me see if I can get this right. I'm born in Opelousas, Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
I live in Pascagoula, Mississippi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I got a church in Pearlington, Mississippi.
It's all the letters there, brother. That's all the letters. Ain't nobody gonna tell me that's all the letters, brother.
When somebody don't know me, and you know, I'll be just talking, they say, "What's your name?" I say, J.R.D. Hickenbottom.
That's Toussaint, y'all. That is Toussaint. But Toussaint, what do you think about this situation, man? Was President Ford right in his assessment as to how we're going to get a female president? Because that was back in like around 1976, somewhere in that window of time, and now it's 2022, and he's absolutely right in the fact that there have not been voted by the American people a female president. But he said it will be a process. She'll come in as the vice president. The sitting president will pass on, and she will immediately be catapulted to the president of the United States of America. And that's the process. But as far as the American people voting her in, I want to know, do you believe that he's right? And why is it such an issue for the American people to vote the right person, be it male, female, or whatever, into the seat of the presidency of the United States of America? Toussaint, what do you say to that?
I think he hit it. I mean, that have to happen like that. Because we so biased in this country, in the home of the brave and I don't even know how to say it because I never did pay that no mind. Land of the brave and the home of the free, or whatever they say. We always had either bias or prejudice against somebody. There was some. I say we, because I'm part of this country. They might not even accept me because I never did say I was an American citizen, even though I got all my paperwork in order. But they don't. There are some that don't acknowledge that. I don't have nothing to do with that, but that's just the way it is. And Hillary probably would have won if she wasn't a woman. Most men didn't vote for her because of that.
All right.
Oh,
because of that.
Hold on.
Why you didn't vote for her?
Yeah, I'm
Was
good.
it any other candidate for? Oh, it was what that crazy lady was that saw Russia from her kitchen.
Say that one more time. Cause you
The
heard.
lady that says she had experience in
Oh, Paul.
foreign.
You talking about Sarah Palin?
Yeah, she was a nut. She's still a nut.
Why you gonna call the lady a nut? Now, why you gonna do the lady like that, too, son? What? I think Cassandra. I think Shirley Chisholm ran for president too, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
yeah, that
She was in. I'm pretty sure she did. She put her threw her hat in the ring.
yeah. I think
How she do?
not too good.
Oh no, something happened. I don't know what happened. I can't remember about that, but I believe she did. If I remember correctly, I think she did. Something happened why she didn't run. They might have scared her to death.
Is it because yeah, that's true too. Do you think it's because she's a female? Do you think it's because she's a female she did not win? And that was back in what 80s? That was in the 80s, wasn't it?
80s, I believe
Yeah.
it. If I'm correct, I thought it was the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yeah.
the 80s. But yeah, of course it's because she's female. And then she was so outspoken and pro-black.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna work.
Not doing.
That ain't gonna. That is not gonna work with them. I mean, let's just be honest. That's not gonna work.
It's certainly not doing that time. Yes, sir.
Well,
I was just trying, and I can't figure that out because if you don't listen to you, I heard you say, if you don't listen to your wife, most men have been led or brought up or directed by at least their mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And see, and that's the thing that gets me right there because of that reason. They say the woman won't be the president of the United States of America, but at the same time, when something goes on, they're gonna go to their wife or their mom or their older sister or something like that, and they're gonna consult in them and get the answer that they need to move forward, or at least curve their opinion a certain way. We got Mr. Ibrahim, not Ibrahim. I'm sorry. We got who we got was I think Mr. Hicks.
Let me throw something in there real quick.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
Won popular vote.
She did.
So she could have been sitting in that office if it wasn't for all those folks in the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that really made the difference to curve what she was trying to do and did not allow her to get in. Because truth of the matter, she's been in politics her majority of her whole adult life. And so she knows how this thing works, and she got relationships with certain people that would have helped America. But because of the fact that she's female, they would not do it. They would not allow her to be the president of the United States of America. Mr. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Mr. Hicks, you there? Okay, I think we lost Mr. Hicks. But we do have Rico. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm just grateful to see another beautiful day. How everybody doing today?
Hey, doing good. What do you think about this, Rico? Do you think Mr. Ford? I'm going to play the clip after you talk. I'm going to play the clip that because it's been shared with me, and I want to play that clip so everybody that's listening or watching could hear exactly what he said. But do you think he's right in his assessment how we're going to get a female president and she would not be voted in by the American people? And why?
I can't say he was right, but I can say that was a good opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, based on history and the way things have gone for women, I would have probably suggested the same thing, that it would just have to happen by happenstance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after Hillary ran and got the popular vote, I'm starting to think that there's a new day and age, and people have to start thinking differently now because we live in a different time.
Mm-hmm.
It's only going to take a small change to make that electoral college work a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe maybe a little worse. That's the whole reason why Trump did what he did, and they always trying to do some redlining and redistricting. I think if they leave it the same way that it is, it will happen the way it should happen through the vote.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, there's always the possibility. See, that's what it is. I don't care if you call yourself Nostradamus.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever prediction that somebody puts out is only that. It's a probability of prediction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But to say that it's a guarantee that it would have to happen that way, no. But I think it's the possibility of a woman becoming president that way seemed the most logical way, being not only the way the world operates, but the way America operates, and have the history of what women have gone through. But I think now that it doesn't have to happen that way. Like Badger said, Hillary won a popular vote.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, that's going to get fine-tuned a little bit better, and that popular vote will mean what it's supposed to mean, even though you do have the electoral college.
But see, one of the things, and I appreciate what everybody is saying, but one of the things that strikes me in the way that it does is he said this back in 19. I wish I had the date. I think it was around 1975 is what I'm guessing. And now we're in 2022, and his prediction thus far has held true. They had
he paid attention to history.
Yeah, and
I think he paid attention to the precedents that was set and what history said about what women had to go through. I mean, women have led huge corporations and huge functions, but it always sort of fell into their hand. Maybe they inherited it, like different queens inherited the land and the power. I think Joan of Arc, I don't know how she got in place to do what she did, but from most of what I recall in history, most females inherited their position, and then they proved that a woman could do it. And just the nature of what man is created the situation to where it had to happen that way.
Cassandra, and that's true. Cassandra, you got a lot of people, man, a lot of men out here that pillow talk. And what that mean, they get in the bed at night with the old ladies and stuff, and they get to talking about different things and discussing different things, and that's how they come up with it, because the lady, she think a little more clearer at the moment, and she give them a better vision. She's leading now. Certainly, that don't mean that she's the president of the United States of America or the president of the whole corporation or anything like that. But at the same time, her input made a huge difference. Why do you think it is, Cassandra, that most people just can't just vote her in because she's the best candidate?
Yeah, that I think we're still a good ways away from people voting for people just because they are, the best one for the position, because they don't do it. People vote for people on all different types of levels. But please, let's remember that there are other countries that are supposed to be a little less sophisticated or in industrially in a different place in the United States. They've had female leaders like Golda Meir.
Yeah.
That girl was a bad somebody. Do you hear me?
Hush your mouth.
That girl was. Everybody followed her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher. You've had powerful women around the world that have been in position, and you can name a whole bunch of countries where they've had female leaders that killed it. But we are supposed to be so sophisticated and advanced, but yet we still have this thing when it comes to women. Those people just want somebody that's going to kill a job, just going to get in there and do what they need to do. Our country looking at body parts.
Do you think we're stuck in that caveman mentality? Do you think we're stuck in that?
Well, that's the way we act. I'm gonna tell you, that's the way this country acts when it comes to women. I mean,
wow.
I'm not gonna go there because that ain't our conversation today. But yeah, it's a lot. I believe that the possibility of a female getting in is going to be very close to what Ford said.
Wow. Speaking of that, let me play the clip, and then Tucson, I'm coming to you after the clip. So be on standby for me, brother. I'm gonna play this clip and see what exactly Mr. Ford is saying. Let me pull it up on the screen here. I want it full screen. Okay.
It's a very high honor and a very great privilege for me to come to West Branch and to participate in this conference, which is being held here at the Hoover facilities.
Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become President of the United States?
Well, I hope we do have a young lady at some point become President of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president. And the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die. And the woman will become president under the law or constitution. And once that barrier is broken, from then on, men better be careful, because they'll have a hard time ever even getting a nomination in the future. But that's the way it's going to happen, and I think it'll probably come sometime in the next 4 or 8 years.
Well, he was off in his prediction of the time that is going to happen, and he was off in that prediction because that was actually 1989. I'm looking at the clip of this 1989 when he said that, had that press conference. Toussaint, what's on your heart?
Well, when he started talking, when he started to make his comments, and I don't mean anything by what I'm saying, but I looked at a older white male.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time tries to control the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're doing, these are the people that tries to dictate
mm-hmm.
what will happen in this country. And here he is standing, making his opinion from his stance.
Mm-hmm.
You heard what he said? From
Mm-hmm.
that point on, men better be careful.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. He sure did. That's what he said.
So it reminds me of I call him Ahasuerus. I might have mispronounced that name, but it was in Esther, where when Vesta was called by the king and she didn't come. And the men said, well, we what we gonna do? Because if this word get out, I'm a paraphrase, none of us gonna be able to do nothing with our women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that most men feel.
Mm-hmm.
If they can ever get the upper hand, and this is a twofold conversation. It tickles me because there are some women that are ready for this conversation, because I don't have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a problem with you, with some that try to be more man than I am.
Wow. I
had to throw that out there.
I saw you slipped that little gut punch in. I saw what you did there, brother. Somebody said in the chat, Rico, that I'm gonna butcher the name, so y'all hope read between what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna butcher this young lady's name. Said Tulsi Gabbard would be they think that she will be a great president. Are you familiar with that person, Rico? And if so, what do you think about that?
I mean, once again, that's their opinion. I've heard a little bit about the woman, but, not enough to say that she'll be a good president. I mean, I'm pretty sure quite a few of them that would be good presidents. But, I mean, like Obama.
Mm-hmm.
He took the world by storm when he spoke at that Democratic convention that time. And people really didn't even know who he was before then.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, but they know him after that night.
Mm-hmm.
But I still ain't completely satisfied with every single thing that he did, but I know he did a great job. I'm proud of.
Mm-hmm.
What we consider a good job, really and truly, that's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
But once again, I go back to the point that comment was even made. At that point in time, I remember a conversation I had with a woman at a bank one time. And she was saying some things that she was going through. I spoke about it. May have been some things that was just going on in the world. She said, yes, she said, it's a shame. It's a white man's world and we just in it. She didn't say that other part that James Brown said.
Mm-hmm.
She said, it's a white man's world. Not even it's a man's world. It's a white man's world. This was a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
we're just in it. So when you think about the comment that Ford made, he made that based on conversations that he had with other white powerful males. That at the point in time, they didn't even want a black person as president. He probably would have had the same answer for that person if they had asked when we're gonna have a black president.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So when you sit in behind closed doors and you know who the chauvinists are, you know what I'm saying, and all of y'all are in position of power. Y'all are the decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, y'all are the leaders and the representatives. When you sit down behind closed doors with these people and you see where they stand and how they feel, and that they're chauvinists and maybe they treat their wives like crap, and you really see that they don't respect women in the way that they should be, I think it's obvious for you to make a comment like that and say, well, look, man, the way these men set up, these white males,
yeah,
the way they set up, the only way a woman gonna become president is if they start becoming kind enough to appease the public and make a good picture to say we got a first woman vice president, and then she falls in line and gets it inherited. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I can see it happen. So that comment he made based on that era and that point in time and based on history,
yeah,
that's a very logical statement that he made, because for some reason, man has not stopped being chauvinistic once they get in power. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're telling women what they can do with their bodies.
Yeah, exactly. Cassandra, what's on your heart, Cassandra?
Yeah, I agree with Rico, and I see. I believe that this country, and I can't talk for nobody else. This country is due for a rude awakening.
Yes, it is.
When it comes to women, especially now with the different decisions that are being made that affect women primarily. I think it's going to be a serious come to Jesus meeting with this country, because think about it. When women wanted to vote, women came together, black women and white women and every woman just about in the country came together, and they marched. They wasn't cooking. There were it was a whole bunch of stuff happening. And guess what? What happened? Women got the right to vote.
Yep.
I mean, women came out in droves to protest, and they ended up with the right to vote. Every time women feel like they're being suppressed or oppressed, and they come together, things happen. Things happen, because you're going to have some unhappy men at home, the ones who really can make some decision making and changes. Those women will talk up and changes will be done. It's just a fact. Yep. It's just a fact. And you talked about that pillow talk. It's going to be plenty pillow talk going on.
or some cold beds.
No, okay. Okay.
Imagine what's on your heart, brother.
I'm loving what Cassandra's saying. You know my point of view when it comes to men and women.
Yeah.
I'm actually hoping women start getting together again and actually kick all those old white guys out. So we can actually make this country good again.
Wow.
And get all those egocentric, greedy a-holes out of office.
And see, my thing is, I just hope and I pray that if that does happen, I hope that women don't become the very thing that they hate in the men.
Well, I mean, don't put a gold digger in there.
Lord Jesus, he done said gold digger.
Okay. I mean, am I wrong?
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. That's your opinion. I can't give you. Yeah.
To me, what I think our country really needs is one of those grandmas from a community.
You mean the one that understands dragging the feet with the house coat on?
Probably. You know which kind of grandma I'm talking about. The one that like the whole neighborhood literally tells all the kids,
Mm-hmm.
if you walk by grandma's house, you better have your britches up. You better, have a certain attitude. You better say yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
All that kind of stuff.
Hey,
We
baby,
need,
come on over here, baby, and sit down. Let me cook you a little something to eat. Look like you're a little hungry, there,
yep,
baby. Now,
that's the
now,
one.
what the world you been doing around here? Now, I guess the wind tell me that you been out there trying to sell them their drugs, boy. Now, we don't do that in grandma's neighborhood, baby.
And 90-something% of the time they say yes, ma'am, and they don't do it
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after you eat this food, you go out there and you get yourself together. Now, we ain't having all this other stuff that you call yourself doing. We don't do that around here. Not around here.
That's what we need.
Cassandra, does that sound close to Cassandra?
Yeah, we used to have those in the neighborhood, but now the kid. We ain't gonna go there because
Okay.
it's a whole nother generation, and the grandmamas of the neighborhood can't even talk up the way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
just can't out of fear.
I tell you what, you better not mess with grandma. Better not mess with grandma. Monique, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Monique, what do you think about how you been listening to us this morning? You don't, or need to catch up to speed?
What's the question?
Well, we're talking about President Ford. I think it was Ford. I keep forgetting, but he said something back in 19. Well, it was 89. I thought it was 1975. It was 1989 when I saw the clip about how young girl asked him how or when would there be a female president, and he said she won't be voted in the traditional way. What will happen is there'll be a male as a president, and he will elect a female as his vice president, and then he will die off. And when that happens, she
Hmm.
will be catapulted into the position of the president of the United States of America. If that be the case, this was way on back. This was years ago, 30, 40 years ago when he made this comment. And true to form, we have not had a female president. So is it true what he said, or and why is it so hard for America, this country this great country that we live in, to elect a female president?
Um, I think you all mentioned the chauvinistic,
Yes,
of
yes.
men. Men not wanting women to be, in charge of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see it, you see it so often. I think about my days in the military, how when we had women, who were in charge, it seems like those women had to, you know, in some cases be a little extra,
Mm-hmm.
than what they had to be because they had to show these guys that, hey, they could do this job, just like they can. So, mm, you know, uh, I think a woman can do it, but she will have to be kind of like unemotional, type of woman, straight leg, kind of woman. She can't
Mm-hmm.
be, I hate to say it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but she can't be like a priss, a
Yeah.
diva,
Mm-hmm.
type. She has to be, really hardcore,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And see, and that's something else too. So Enrico, coming to you next, brother. Why is it that a woman would have to cater herself a certain way in order to be in authority, a position of authority? Why do you think that is? Men don't do
I
it.
Because
think,
men are
I think, oh,
Go ahead, Tucson.
No, I think she hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, y'all up my alley right now. She done ran down my road, picked my address, sit on the couch, and picked my phone up.
God almighty. Your iPhone at that. Your iPhone.
You now you see what this society has ushered in, that you can't really be a woman per se
Mm.
to get where you need to be unless they would allow you to get it on
wow.
your back.
Wow.
So rather than doing it that way, you just wear the pants.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And excuse me, I'm gonna say it. Y'all just wait. I'm just saying it using it as an expression. It's not derogatory or anything. But you have to grow some balls.
Mm. Mm.
I'm saying because there are those that feel like, and they dress the part that I'm gonna just grow some balls.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
I'm the butch
Mm-hmm.
type woman. You can't
Mm.
be, and women are not weak. Let me just make
No,
that clear.
not at
Women
all.
are not
Not at all.
weak. They're the weaker vessel,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not weak
Mm-hmm.
because they also control the narrative. If you want something done, any kind of way in any entity in life, just ask the woman. She'll get it done.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't get it done, remember,
Exactly.
I don't know, I can't even think about how Deborah got to power. That's why the religious sect cheers her on, and that's their standpoint is when Barack, Bayrock, or whoever it was, I can't
Mm-hmm.
even, I'll have to go there to find out. Didn't want to go unless Deborah went. So I'm just saying that I think she hit the nail on the head. All of that, what I said, forget about that. But what she did say is, I don't know if she said that per word or per, it has to be a manly type
Mm-hmm.
woman.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
glad I got that off my chest. I feel so much better.
Woo, I feel better now. Woo, I feel so much better now. I feel better, so much better. Oh, go ahead, Rico. What's on your heart, brother?
Well, that's why Sarah Palin tried to play that role.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and what happens is that they have to actually stick to the party line. And they have to show that they really stand behind it. They have to be more extreme. That's why you see little 5'2" women taking pictures talking about Second Amendment and holding guns.
Mm-hmm.
Like they go hunting. There's one person down here, she ran for a seat. She talking about she liked to hunt. Woman, you don't hunt nothing but milk. You ain't shot nobody gun. And then she says, MAGA. You know, you heard Badger say when a woman can make America great again.
Yeah.
Some people think it was great once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you ever want to look at the landscape of politics and where America might go, look to Alabama. There are several states that if you look and see what happens in their state politics and it works, sooner or later they start using it in the major politics and the national politics. And they've done this quite a few times with Obama. Not with Obama, but with Alabama. They did it with Governor Don Siegelman. And what they did to Governor Don Siegelman is pretty much what they did to Bill Clinton. But what they did, they cut his head off before he rose to Clinton status. I mean, railroaded him, played a dirty game. And then the same tactics were used by Karl Rove. He actually had something to do with our governor getting set up the way that he did and going to prison. So now, you look at Kay Ivey, our governor. She called it trying to get to that seat, but she finally made it to lieutenant governor. But I got a nickname for her, Carpet Munching Kay. She ain't got nobody's sympathy. She ain't got nobody's femininity. You probably will never catch her in a dress.
Wow.
And she actually sounds like some of them dudes. I put it to this way. I like what Badger said. I would love to see a Betty White as president. But this woman here, Kay Ivey, if they found another woman right like her, that sounds like a man, looks like a man, walks like a man, and believes in everything a man said, a good old boy, then they got what they want. And they have to do that. I mean, look, if you even put a black person in that position, guess what he better act like? In Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, the thing is man, you have to actually go along with the party line or risk not being acceptable for a woman to actually be accepted. She would have to be hardcore. They don't want no Jezebel in office. Somebody that gets mad and goes off emotion. And see, that's the stereotype that men have always psychologically said that women were too emotional to be in that seat. But then we watch somebody like Bush and all these other presidents get so emotional to where they just go to dropping bombs on people. How much worse can a woman do?
Wow.
But that antebellum South, the antebellum South, they ain't just in Alabama. It's a lot of white males with that same mindset still at their foundation. That some overtly and some covertly and some unconsciously still have this male chauvinistic mindset that a woman can't lead.
Wow. And they're sad because, like I said, a lot of times what happened is during that pillow talk, during those pillow talking moments, she's actually leading. She'll never get the credit for it. He'll never come out. A lot of time, men will never come out and say, "Well, my wife told me this, and this is where I got it from." But she's actually leading. Let me go. We got a few people that just joined us. I think we got Ibrahim. Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Ibrahim, you there? Okay, Ibrahim having some issues with his line. We'll come back to him. Leonard, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, in the Morning Go family.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. We're talking about President Ford, and he had a speech back in 89, I think it was. I'm giving that little window. Or that's when it was actually televised, 1989. A young girl asked him a question, say what would happen or what have to happen to get a female president of the United States of America. He gave what he thought was his formula. He gave what he thought was his formula that would happen. That it won't be the traditional way where you actually vote her in. And sad to say, even back in 89, when he made this speech up until 2022, that's been the case. No one has actually voted a female in as president, though there has been a few that ran. He said that it will be a male president on the Republican or the Democratic side that will be the president. He will elect a vice president as a female, and then he will reach his end, and then she will be catapulted into the presidency of the United States of America. Do you buy that? What do you think about that? Or why do you think we have not done more towards having a female president?
It's all plausible, and it's not what we have not done or what we have to do. It's for that woman that desires to be president to do as such. That's what you're waiting on. That woman that desires to be president.
Do you think Shirley Chisholm would have, during the time that she did, it might have been wrong, but do you think she was qualified? Or even Hillary Clinton? It is said that she won the popular vote. So do you think that either one of them was qualified to run this country?
Yes, both of them were.
Wow.
Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be?
Why? Evidently, because of the fact that they didn't win, some people thought that they were not.
Other than the fact that they were a woman.
That's the whole thing. That's exactly. My whole point. That's my whole point right there. Yep.
You see, and that's the thing about it. See, when you think like the oppressor, it's easy to figure you out. Because the oppressor hasn't changed. He thinks the same way. Same antiquated mindset.
So do you think there's a percentage? Do you think there's still a percentage of in this great country that we live in 2022? I said this, we're already in August, so it's about to be 2023. Do you think they have the mentality or the mindset that only one that could really run this country in a certain way is an older white male?
Yeah, that's how they're going to think. That's how you know who they are. They're not going to change. Their left are not going to change.
Wow.
That's just the way they are. They're male chauvinist. They are set in their ways. And some of them don't want a female president. Just because she's a woman. That's the way they think. That's how you know. That's why you just listen to a person talk. You ain't got to force them into nothing. You listen to their thought process. And that's how they think. They don't care if it's 2022, 2023, 2053.
Yeah.
They gonna die like that. And rightfully so.
The question is asked. The question is asked on the this question actually coming. I think it's coming off on Twitch. What female do you think would be a good president, Cassandra?
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of them. I mean, I don't know. Can I really address what I want to address?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't. I hate to put it like this, but the fact that people think that a woman has to act like a man or want to act like a man to be in positions that is not good. I mean, I know lots of powerful women that are some of the most feminine women you will ever want to meet right here in Atlanta. I know women in the House of what do you call it? House of Representatives
Yeah.
and other positions and mayors around the Metro Atlanta area. These women are super feminine, powerful women. They're women on federal judgeships that I know around Georgia. They are beautiful, powerful, feminine women, but they handle their jobs. Please don't think that we have to act like a man, talk like a man, be like a man to be in a position of authority, because that should not even be our mindset.
Wow. Wow. That's
I'm
good.
just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Got you. Got you. Curtis, and that's a great point. That's a great point because do you think sometimes, and I was going to move on, but I'm gonna ask you this question, Cassandra. Do you think sometimes either the woman or other women think that when one of you all, and I see you all meaning the female, get into that position that they have to do that? Do you think even some women think that?
There are some women, but guess what? Most of them, no. I'm telling you, I work around powerful women all the time in government, in the religious community. And I'm telling you, these women, none of them that I know act like men, try to come off like men. They're strong, powerful Black women.
That's good.
Or white women. And it has nothing to do with them being in a position of authority.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Curtis, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
What up, bro? What's going on with y'all?
Hey, what's going on with you? What's going on with you, man? You been listening to us, or do I need to catch you up to speed?
You just got to catch me up to speed. I just passed that, man.
We're talking about our Ford, ex-President Ford. He said in a speech that he had back when he was president that and he was asked by a young girl about a female president, and he said the only way that he see, and this was back in I'm saying 89. Now we're in 2022. He was saying the only way he think that it's going to happen, it won't be the traditional way, whereas where they actually voted in, by the vote. But he said that there will be a man president, be it Democratic or Republican or vice versa, that will become president of the United States of America, and he will elect a female as his vice, and then he will meet his end, and she will be catapulted in by the Constitution as the president of the United States of America. Curtis, do you understand? Not do you understand, but do you believe that? And why is it so hard for this country, as great as it is, to elect a female as president?
Well, one, outside of this country being extremely racist, this country is extremely chauvinistic. That's number one. Number two, you gotta account for the percentage block of women who vote that do not believe that a woman should be president. I'm gonna say that again.
Wow.
There's a percentage block of women who vote who honestly do not believe that a woman should be president.
Wow.
I'm not saying that block is. Now, I'm not saying that block is an astronomically high number. But if you got, let's say you got half of the country that believe that a woman should not be president, right? If you got half of the country that's chauvinistic in terms of power and leadership, right? That believe that our country should be a white male-dominated country, right? So you got half of the country that believe that, right? So that's a 50-50 split right there, right?
Yeah.
Now you take that small voting block of women who do not believe that a woman should be president. You take that small voting block, no matter how ignorant they may sound, you got to account for them.
Mm-hmm.
You take that small voting block, that may give you anywhere from, let's just say, I'm just throwing some numbers on the top of my head. So this is not anything that's researched, but this is in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You take that small block, you're going to get at least, let's say, in between 50 to 250,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
You already got 50. So you get these 250,000 additional votes. Now you're looking at probably about a 53, 54% in your voting block.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
I don't know how that stands out with the Electoral College, but I'm just saying from a popular vote point of view, you got to account for that, those two things. That's in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Let's keep this thing going. And we got I think we got Toya with a T. Toya with a T. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
What up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good, Toya. What do you think about this thing, man? Was Ford right in his assessment of how we're gonna get a female president? Was he right? And
Was who right?
well, you I don't know if you was listening already, but what happened was Ford, when he was president back in 80s or whatever it was, he said he was asked by a little girl at a forum that they was having about a female president of the United States of America.
President Ford?
Yeah. You know how long ago that was? There was
it wasn't in the 80s. Like I was alive in the 80s, honey.
Mm-hmm.
That was before the 72. That was Nixon, and now go further than that.
Mm-hmm.
Go further
Man,
than that.
Raheem,
I was 70, baby.
Hold on.
Roddy, he don't care. He just trying to get to the end, man. He don't care what year it was.
No. No, truth of the matter, I thought it was around 1975, but I played a clip that was shared with me that had 1989 on the clip, and so that's why I say 89, because that's
that was right.
Ford came after Nixon and was seated by Carter. Carter's the one that put Ford out.
Okay, hold on for a second. Let me hold on. Y'all jumping all over to you. Hold on. Let's get her thought on this thing. I'll come back to you. But my thing is this right here. He said that she asked him would there ever be a female president. He said that process will have to happen in this way. There will be a male president, either Republican or Democrat or vice versa. They will be voted in as president of the United States of America, and they will elect a female as the vice president, and then the president would die, and she would take over as the president of the United States of America. So what he's saying is the traditional way is not going to happen in that way. Now, my question is this, and that was back in, say if that was back in 75. Let's put 75 on it. If we was doing that time.
That's when it was, Raheem.
It was 75?
First time was 74. Yeah. And you talking about the first president, he was never elected to nothing, no way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
but hold on,
the same boat.
It don't matter.
Hold on,
let me get. Come on, let's go.
My thing is, hold on, Toy. Let me
say what he said.
Hold on, let me ask you the question now. I want to hear. I want to hear what you're gonna say to this thing. But my thing is, if that be the case, it was 70. If we was 75, now we in 2022, and what he said has been true. Now, Kamala, she is the vice president right now, and maybe this is the time that he was talking about. But why is it so hard for this great country, Toya, that we live in, to elect a female as the president of the United States of America?
Oh yeah, this is white savage time. This white savage time, and I learned this with Stacey Abrams. Me and some of the white women that I was working with.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go against Stacey Abrams and the guy that's running? You have a medical condition, and he voted against the medical bill.
Mm-hmm.
And the white lady looked at me. She said, "Listen, I still want my doors open and my food paid for from her white husband."
Wow.
And soon as I go outside of the white savage way, I'm going to get treated different, and I don't want that.
Mm.
And I said, but wait a minute. Even if he wrong, like your white husband is a racist and he wrong, and you're still going to support what he got going on? And she looked me dead in my damn eye.
Hey.
And said, I don't care nothing about that. Didn't you hear me just say, I want my doors open and my food left? I'm not trying to interrupt that.
Mm.
So she gonna roll with the man that don't want to give her health care.
and don't want to give her her rights.
Wow.
So if we're looking at America and we're only 13% of 375 million, we only coming in at a hot 44 million, and the half of us is the only one that feels like a woman should run because not because we even really analyze if the job can really be done, but because of being held back so long.
Yep.
Now, we're gonna be pro whatever because we don't agree with being held down and held back. So living in white savage town, because don't nothing but white savage men run this right here.
Wow.
And ain't nobody else gonna come run it. And let me tell you something. I'd rather die. You better not let me die by nobody else. Before you let them kill me, you better kill me. White savage man or woman.
Wow.
And that's how tight they are. That's their way of life, and we see it every day. They'd rather die by a wielding white man who is guilty. No, 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 no. Put that down. Put that down. And they rather him cut their head off than to be confronted by anybody in any other race to do anything for them. So that mentality is why the United States have not moved forward. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm sorry. And I hate to have the stereotype, but hell, they do it to us. I don't trust white savage politicians. And they say whatever and whatever they need. And they knew in 75 what was going on. They knew what they were going to do to the black man. They know what they were trying to do to the black woman. And that was a comment for that reason. White savage America don't care.
Wow.
And a white savage politician gonna say whatever, however, whoever, whenever to get what they want because they're savages. Now the shoe fit, wear it.
Good deal. Good deal. Phone lines are open, man. This is Monday. We
I'll
added.
follow that.
Hold on. This is Monday. We on it already, man. Let me give the phone number 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. Love to have your input, whether you agree, disagree, or however you feel. Give us a call. Let's have the dialogue. Let's talk. Give us a call. 508-924-3521. Go ahead, Badger.
I like how she used the word savage. As dealing with them on a daily basis, it might as well feel like that. There was a comment I made to Leonard a while back. He's probably gonna tell me to hush once I start it up. A solution to solve a lot of the issues in white communities, which is everything from racism to taking women's rights away and all that nasty stuff. Take out 3/4 of the preachers, take away the Bible from all of them, take that toxic religious belief that they've been teaching and teach them the right Christianity belief. Not the they are better than other races, women must obey, men are in charge, women are our slave mentality that is corrupted any moderately. No, I wouldn't even say moderately. At least 80% of the white population. From my personal experience, speaking as the white guy on the show today, I'm going to say that because I have to deal with those morons every day. I swear the next time I hear a woman say, I have to obey my man because that's what God said to do, I'm going to lose it.
So, so I want to be fair how I ask this question. Do you think that religion, spirituality, if you will, is the reason why a lot of this country is the way that it is because of spirituality? Because you can give
there ain't no spirit.
We judge them when we say that, Badger. We're judging
no,
when
I'm
we say
not.
that. We are. We cannot see a comment like that and not have a smidgen of being judgmental in there. But let me see, because me and you, we could go back and forth. I call you after
Okay,
the bar.
hold on. Okay, hold on. I get what you're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take Trump for example.
Mm-hmm.
He's the easiest one to do
Mm-hmm.
because you can see how many people he supports. You can see the people that he does support.
Mm-hmm.
He talked all this smack about Saudi Arabia being behind 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why did he just do a golfing drive for him?
He did.
Why is he supporting a woman that literally quotes Hitler,
Mm-hmm.
that literally said during a rally that the overturn of Roe versus Wade was a white victory,
Mm-hmm. I understand what you're saying,
not a
but
pro-life victory? So if any spirit at all is involved, it's the silver-tongued devil.
mm-hmm. Well, there's all kind of spirits. You go to, if somebody go to down to the liquor store, they got spirits right across the top of the building.
But
That's
those
not a, that's
teachings
not
of
that's
Jesus
not a
Christ,
godly spirit. But that's not that. No, 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 no. I'm showing you the difference right now. Spirit,
That's
you
right.
know, there's all kind of spirits. If you go down to the liquor store, ABC store, whatever they call it, in the area that you live in, and across the top they can have the spirit. It could be spirits up there. Now certainly they're not talking about godly spirits. They're not talking about you
no.
gonna buy a bottle of godly spirits. They're not talking about that.
But
There's all kind of spirit. There's all kind
that's
of
the
spirits,
thing.
Badger. There's all kind of spirits out there, and so you can't associate. You can't tie in godly spirit with the evil spirits of man. They're two different. They're
That's right.
two different parts of the world. And
But
so, and I'm
that's what I'm getting at. You have
mhm,
the teaching that has been passed down in the white communities
mhm,
by the evil use
mhm,
of the Bible
mhm. Okay.
is what has caused so many problems in America.
I understand what you're saying. Like I said, again, we could go back and forth with this because there's so many different layers on that. But I have to move. I have to move on. Let me go to Tucson. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm sorry. I'm just absorbing this conversation to see
Mm-hmm.
where I can pick my points.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, and I kind of get kind of itchy when somebody
Oh,
talks about
oh Lord.
religion and pastor and Bible and Christianity. I get kind of itchy
Mm-hmm.
because there's because I'm not like other people, and there are some people that even with my faults, I try to be genuine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't interpret things based on somebody else's narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The Christian that some people talk about, that's not me.
Wow.
The
Mm-hmm.
teaching that some people heed to, even, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
There are some just seek after righteousness. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what does all of this have to do with trying to stick to what we're talking about? Well, there are some people that try to control every narrative there is, and they try to use a speaking point to whatever extreme they can. And there are some people that their Bible is the go-to. So corruption goes to what they know.
Mm-hmm.
And you see them, they hold the Bible upside down and it's all from 1 Corinthians.
Lord, Lord, Lord. We
I'm just
Lord, Lord, Lord. Let
Oh,
me
I'm
see.
laughing so hard.
Let me see. We had a caller. We just lost a caller from the 601 area code. If you get an opportunity, please give us a call back. I wasn't able to get to you as fast as I would like to because of the amount of people that we have here. But 601, if you're available, give us a call back. We'll definitely come to you as soon as we can. Mr. Hicks, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Oh, hold on. I got you on mute there. Mr. Hicks, there you go. I'm sorry about that. Mr. Hicks, you there?
Yes. Good morning, Raheem.
Good,
family.
good morning,
Everybody's
sir.
doing well.
Good to have you. Good to have you, sir. What's on your heart? We talking about this thing about the presidency and why a woman has not been that yet. What do you say to that?
I was thinking that somewhere, I don't know if it's one of those early Christian scholars, and they spoke about the the judgment of God being leveled through the secular government, and it said that the people actually got what they deserved. But what I find real interesting about this conversation and enlightening, right? Although we're talking about women being president and stuff, not once has ever been confused what we're talking about. When we're talking about women being president, we all agree here in the natural of what a woman is. But we're at a particular time where I can even foresee with the redefinition of things that maybe a transsexual becoming president.
Wow. And even wow, that's a lot. That's a turn there.
Yep.
That's a heck of a turn. But my thing is this right here: when are we gonna get to a point or a place in this society? And I'm not gonna say whether I agree or disagree, but when are we gonna get to a place in this society whereas we could just elect the best person for the job? Is there any point in the time where we're gonna say, well, look, this person has the credentials, this person have all the qualifications? Like when Hillary ran, I think she had all the credentials to be because she's been in politics her whole adult life, and she's seen so many different things with her husband being a two-term president and working up under different and being in different offices herself. I think she was very qualified to be the president of the United States of America, but because she's a female, I think that's the only thing that stopped her from being the president of the United States of America. Certainly against the one that won over her. Let me go to Dr. Cook. Dr. Cook, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm well, and you?
I am doing wonderful. Thanks for asking. What's on your heart, Dr. Cook?
Well, I truly believe that Mrs. Clinton would have been a great president. She was in office for quite some time. She knew the political game. She had some things in her background that wasn't really good, but I think she would have done a great job. Now I've heard in the past that many people, even including our own, state that there will not be a female president. Not only the Caucasians, but a lot of blacks said the very same thing. And I really think that we need to stop being judgmental, but I don't think that will ever happen. But I just basically wanted to say that that part's there.
Okay.
But I'm just listening and trying to take in because I came in a little late.
It's okay. I'm glad that you're here. Definitely glad that you're here. But Leonard, what do you say to that, man? And she said she put a word out there, man, that jumped out at me. Say Hillary knows the political game, and that's a lot of time. That's what it is, man. It's a political game. We have to pick better players. What do you say to that?
Well, I'm with her on the last thing that she mentioned. I would have voted for Hillary Clinton. I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, okay.
And I voted for Geraldine Ferraro when she was the vice president under Walter Mondale running on the ticket.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So I've never had a problem voting for a woman. I'm gonna vote for this woman to be governor of Georgia. Hopefully, that type of woman would go on to be president of the United States. I've never had a problem with women leadership.
Yeah.
I'm always been. I'm not waiting on the rest of y'all.
Ain't no y'all.
So if anybody think they waiting for this or waiting for that, go do it. Go do it. Like I said, we will have a woman president once we have one running that does a great campaign and appeals to everyone, at least the mass of voters.
Now, Leonard, what do you take from what? And I know what they was doing, and I'm sure you do too. But what do you take from the whole situation when they try to push this about the emails? That was a diversional tactic right there that they were trying to use to throw people off. And did it work?
No. I mean, I think it added to a lot of things. However, Hillary Clinton had a lot of baggage. And of course she had enemies.
Yeah.
So those were the people that conspired not to elect her.
Wow.
You know, so one, everybody has their reasons, but I'm not one of them people that just jump on a bandwagon neither.
Mm-hmm.
So one, like you said, when are we going to vote for a person? But I already do vote for the best qualified person.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't relate to even those types of that thought process, because that's what I do anyway. Why wouldn't I vote for the best person for the job?
That's good.
Unless I was a simple individual
Mm-hmm.
that was biased or racist or sexist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. I'm gonna stop Leonard because Leonard gut hitting people in the gut. Man, we ain't gonna let Leonard hit people in the gut.
Well, okay. I'm gonna hit him in the face next.
You see what I'm saying? See, where's my mute button for Leonard? Where's my mute button? Let me go to Curtis. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? And I know you worked up on the campaign for Miss Clinton, didn't you?
I worked for Hillary,
Mm-hmm.
and you are right. You are right in saying most qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, Hillary Clinton is the most qualified person to run for the office of presidency almost in the history of America.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's a powerful statement, though. When you say in the history of America.
If you want
Facts.
If you want me to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
she was the most qualified person to run for the office of the United States presidency in the history of America. Man, Hillary had a lot of baggage because, I'll tell you why. She had a lot of baggage because all the years that she had in politics.
Yes, sir.
What a lot of people don't know is that Hillary's political career goes back, it stems back as far as Nixon. See, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that Hillary turned down $130,000 just a year back in the early 80s to go and work with Mary Wright Edelman in Bishopville, South Carolina. In Bennettsville, South Carolina.
Yes, she did.
Hillary was a part of the person who crafted the No Child Left Behind Act, which was a really good piece of work. But what they did was, as long as they was in power, they just used the title of it because it sounded good. That it was never funded properly. No Child Left Behind was never funded properly. It never went properly through the Ways and Means Committee or anything like that. So they threw it out there, using it as a good slogan, right? And then what they did was they defunded the program. They never really truly funded the program like it was supposed to. A whole lot of things that was taken, that was utilized in Obama's campaign was actually things that was taken from the Hillary initiative. See, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that for all of us that's on this panel right now, all of us who went to college and got Pell Grants, the only reason we got them was because of Hillary Clinton. If y'all remember, Reagan was cutting them Pell Grants. He was cutting them. He closed all of the rec centers and all of that. Hillary is the one that went into the Oval Office. Like, Hillary had been to the Oval Office way before Bill had been there. Hillary is the one that went to Reagan and said, look, you can't cut these people money for school. This is the only way these people can afford to go to school. And if you cut those Pell Grants, Mr. President, I'm telling you, you're going to lose a large voting block. That's why Reagan pulled back on it. See, a lot of people don't really know. They just know what they heard. Now, to address the issue with the baggage, I'm going to keep it all the way a buck. I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. Hillary has a lot of baggage, and they hate Hillary for one reason and one reason only. She married the wrong person. She married outside of the party. A lot of people don't know. Mrs. Clinton's father is the reason why Barry Goldwater was able to hang in there and fight for the presidency. He single-handedly mustered the Republican Party together to support Barry Goldwater. Barry Goldwater was ready to walk out. He was done. He was toast. Hillary's father is the one that chaired his campaign. Hillary was the only Democrat in her house. He took his campaign, brought him back. See, she was supposed to be promised to be a very sharp, the hope was that she would be a Republican and she would be extremely sharp. We all saw that. She would be extremely knowledgeable. We all saw that. And when she went Democrat, the Republican Party they felt betrayed. Because she was supposed to carry the mantle for her father. She chose not to go that way. She saw that, hey, look, they're not really I don't support that. And then she fell in love with this poor kid from Arkansas.
Yep. Oh, saxophone
there's a
player.
whole lot to that story that they don't like to talk about and they don't want to mention. And I can't blame them for
Gotta keep it going, Kurt.
Hold on. It might put some salt on the father name, you know?
Exactly. But hold on, Kurt. We got to keep this thing moving. Don't go nowhere, brother. Keep it right there where you at. Rico, talk to me.
Yeah, man. All right. That's a lot of good information we've been getting. But I want to put a disclaimer out there. First off, it was in the 70s. We're going to make sure that we keep on reminding people that Gerald Ford was president in the 70s. 88 may have been Bush and Clinton era. You know what I'm saying? They was running against each other. Second of all, I got to say,
hold on, Rico.
That I disagree.
Let me pause your time. Let me pause your time for 1 second because you're absolutely right, because the person that actually sent the thing to me said that it was the clip is from after Ford was in office, and so he was not the sitting president at the time when he said that. He had already gotten out of office, moved on, and this was something that was later. Starting your time back up, brother.
Right. And so, I want to disagree with what you said, in my opinion, when you said that the only reason Hillary didn't win was because she was a woman. Now, this is the thing, man. I done heard a lot of good information, but sometimes we bypass the most important things when a question is being asked. And the question is can a woman be president? And all of these different things that Ford said, is it true that it can happen like that? But what we have to look at is the facts. First off, Gore won the popular vote, lost the Electoral College. Then Kerry won it, lost the Electoral College. Then Hillary won it, and she was a woman. So she didn't lose because she was a woman. She lost because of the Electoral College. But if we go and throw it on the fact that she's a woman, then what we're going to say, that Gore was a woman? Oh, well, based on the day's determination, he might be. Since they don't say that they don't change up what a woman is. I like what he said earlier, man. He went there, didn't he? We might have already had a woman president now based off of modern times definition of what a woman may be. So this conversation may be a waste of time. But if we still go by the definitions that we have always known of, or we go by the definition of what science has told us a male and a female is, then we have to look at the fact that there have been more than enough qualified women. Hillary was qualified, and she didn't lose because she was a woman. She lost because we still ain't fixed that Electoral College. And we jumping around giving all this history. Oh, Hillary was this and she this. What about the Electoral College? They did it twice. They did it again. And once again, and guess what? Even with the Electoral College, there are other things that contribute to that Electoral College working the way that it does, so they can get the results that they want. So they can say, well, yeah, you want a popular vote, but the Electoral Colleges say that this person won. And they got it set up so they can do it that way.
30 seconds.
But we ain't going to never fix that. We ain't going to never fix that. If we jump around and start talking about religious and spirituality and this and that, and it ain't one time, and listen, we could have at least 30 minutes, 15 minutes should have been on, okay, we found the source. Just like when Biden said that about the super predators, but he didn't care about what caused them. He just want to lock them up. We just locking them up. We just moving, but we don't want to fix what the source of the problem is. We would have had a woman's president had we addressed the Electoral College with Gore and Kerry.
Good deal.
So it's that part that's missing, and we ain't going to fix it until we address what we're supposed to and quit jumping all over the world talking about all kind of other stuff.
I know, too, that and I wasn't going to go here, but there's a huge part of the Catholic Church that actually was against Hillary, and did not want her as, or not just her personally, I guess, but a female as the president of the United States of America. And that was a big part of the push as well. And what you said is absolutely.
It was, Raheem, but it didn't matter. The popular vote spoke.
Okay.
Just like it spoke with Gore and Kerry.
Good deal.
So if that means what the Catholic Church was trying to do didn't matter. It was stopped her with the Electoral College again. It wasn't that that she was a woman, because the people voted and proved to you that she was more than qualified with the vote.
Let me go to Toya. Toya, what do you say? What's on your heart, sis? Toya with a T?
Yeah, no, I'm here. No, Rico was right. Rico was right. There are other subcommittees inside of our government that has a lot more power than just what we deal with on the surface. So Rico has a very valid point with what he said. And if we paid attention to, like, when Trump went in and they were doing all that back and forth with Hillary, they had an issue with some of the things she had done, as if no other white savage human being had done nothing. But that was their reasoning. But no, he's absolutely right. And these are the distractions and the spells that we be talking about. Because down up under the surface, there are matters that build and create the foundation of what we're talking about to keep us distracted. But like Rico said, we're talking about all these other things that really have an outside influence, but it's really a distraction for us. It has nothing to do with, like he said, the Electoral College or some of the subcommittees that can override some of those people that are on the surface of our government and change everything. But in order to know that, see, what God say, we will perish because of lack of knowledge. We have to be educated in this forum in order to really have a capability to even think about that. And so many of us, I'm sorry, I'm just being honest right now. So many of my people, right, because I don't deal with other people all the time. It's some of them, right? But my people, we listen to what the atmosphere say, what's on TV, and what somebody else said and what we heard, but we really don't know for ourselves. And there's a lot of America that's like that. But he's absolutely right. There are hidden committees, forces, systematic rules and policies and agendas that keep us from getting a woman president. However, I would like to say some of these outside influences, I still think, helps, right? Because if we didn't have the outside influences, because keep in mind, we still humans in America. So sometimes we got to, say, oh, we're American government. No, we humans over here. We savage people over here in America are not ready to put a soft, gentle woman in a position of power, talking about push a button, because she's not going to do it.
Wow.
She's going to handle it differently with care because we birth nations.
30 seconds.
We carry soldiers, presidents, children, and things of that nature. So we're not going to be as inclined to be savage as a man to a certain degree. At least that's the expectation. But we already know we got women murderers too. So that's not really the case. But there are other instances that we need to pay attention to that formulate our government that we need to adjust right now, because if we don't, it's not only going to affect our presidency, it's going to affect every single other thing we do when it comes to our birth, our bear arm rights, and every other thing else is going to be important to America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Cassandra, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm driving and I was trying to hit the mute. Come off of mute.
Okay. Be careful now.
I believe that a woman in power would rule with more I don't want to say compassion, but more sensitivity to, like Toya said, like things like that.
Could that put us in danger?
She would be as quick to,
Could that put us in danger?
No, I don't think so. If she's doing it with guidance from people, like the military guys, whatever the Joint Chiefs of Staff, whatever they call them, I don't know. But anyway, I think she would follow, their guidance. But I think that her sensitivity to the deaths and stuff would be, I don't think it would put us in danger though. I don't think a good leader, period, I don't care woman or male, would put her country in danger because of her feelings. But I believe that she would just look at things differently than men do. And I think that's good. I think that's good, actually.
Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, first I'll read this right here, man. This is one of the posts from Twitch TV. Read that for me, Leonard.
Hold on, let me see if I can see it first. Just a minute. At least, excuse, that's a different one. The power should come from the governed. We elect those who should represent our interests. If they do not, vote for someone who will.
What do you say to that?
No, it's pretty simple and straight to the point. I mean,
I
don't, like I said, I don't have this bias against women. So I don't look at women as being weak or strong. It's just they're intelligent. How's their decision making? We didn't say that. Did you say that? Several women leaders around the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think I think it has to do with people's bias towards women more so than anything. Do I think it was some soft? No, she ain't gonna be soft and she ain't gonna be gentle, because then she wouldn't be presidential material. You know, that all those romances about what a woman's supposed to be, it has nothing to do.
So she would have to have a certain sternness about herself to even be the president. She
must be about her business, just like every man should be about his business. We have had weak men in position. So this conversation about what a woman can and cannot do is so immature. It's absolutely ridiculous. They are doing it. I mean, you just heard Curtis. I mean,
I'm doing bruh. I'm going to check for bruh.
Cassandra.
I'm sorry, BG.
Hold on. Let me mute Cassandra. Hold on. Cassandra got a conversation.
I couldn't make a decision based on that, but I've had no problem with women leadership.
Okay.
Either in my personal life or anything else.
Okay, I can agree with. I can certainly agree with that. I neither do I. You know, like my thing is whoever, and that's why I kept saying earlier in the conversation, who's the best qualified to do the job. And so what we're talking about right now is my concern. Let me stop your time. My concern is, even to this day, we have not had a female leadership of this country, and that's very concerning to me, because I know there's so many out there that's qualified to do it and probably do a better job. Go ahead.
Well, we've had a lot of female leadership.
I mean, as president.
Well, we haven't had a female president, but we have lots of female leadership. I mean, throughout the House and the Senate, we've seen female leadership. You got female leadership on January 6th committee.
Do you think Maxine Waters would have been a great president, or could be a great president
if she wanted to? But I think I don't think she's desired to be president. You know, definitely she could have. She's the leader. I believe she's still the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, I believe.
Yeah, she is.
That's the most powerful committee in government. That's really the purse, right? We have women leadership in leadership. It's only those very few people who still hang on to those antiquated notions of females that have a problem with it. I remember when men preachers had a problem with women preachers.
Absolutely, they did, and some still do.
We found out they were just as big a fool as they could be.
They still do.
Yeah, some do. Some still do.
Mean, that's what a man desires is not that much, where everybody should be bowing down or what have you. You know, we should do what's best all the time.
30 seconds.
And those people who make decisions based on whether somebody is a woman or a man, they're the ones with the issue. Not folks like myself.
Good deal. Toussaint, talk to me, brother.
Yeah. It all always goes back to who, and it's just me now. Most people try to follow the narrative or the dictator to fit in. And in this country, whether we want to admit, it's just my opinion. In this country, the belief is, somebody said it earlier, not only is it a man's world, but it's a white man's country.
Yeah.
It's believed that, even though it might not be true.
Mm-hmm.
So they control the mindset of the narrative. Can I say it like that?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
If you want to fit in, if you want to get in, get them to agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to support you.
Mm-hmm.
Because rich Caucasian men, the mindset, the creator of the American dream
Mm-hmm.
is them.
Wow.
Because if you want to get it, they got it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get it from them. And that's just me saying it, because we want, even us, I say us, sometimes we say, I just want them to.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me what you're trying to do is get permission?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're waiting on, from permission? Permission from who?
Mm-hmm.
The government. Well, who's in the government? Who's on the top of the food chain per se? Even the ones that are millionaires, billionaires, there's always one that got more millions and billions than you.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we talk about what was said and who said it, look at him.
Mm-hmm.
There, he was one that kind of like, okay, let's get your opinion since you've been to the top of the chain. And so you are a rich white male. What do you say?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said it earlier. Even if they would have asked him the question, if he thought that there was going to ever be a black president,
Mm-hmm.
he would have said such and such.
Yeah.
Because they value his opinion, because most of the time in America, they control the narrative,
Mm-hmm.
and people follow after that.
Mm-hmm.
And we go in so much extreme to it, gun rights,
30 seconds.
Sexual preference,
Mm-hmm.
everything else, even to the point where whether you can carry out your baby to the full term, who's controlling that
Mm-hmm.
too?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Even religion. My time up.
There you go. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir. What's on your heart?
Yes, sir. Well, essentially, you mentioned in one of your dialogue with someone, you mentioned about the Catholic Church being against Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
How important that was.
Yes.
And what's on my heart is like this whole weekend they got this YouTube 4-hour lecture showing how the pulpitry. I used to hear words like Jacobites and all those old words that I read in history, and understand the roots of those. And I guess what it shows is that in 1776, when this free government established, the pulpitry had this thing to crush it, and that's what's been going on through these Jessups.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the thing, and I was in a dark spot reading that stuff. Going back to all how Lincoln's and all the assassination attempt was all the work of them, and
mm-hmm.
how they assassinated, poison. Anyway, the dark spot was just recognizing how locked up this is, like a spider web. Everything around is so deep. It's even now, even in consideration about presidents, and presidents not really the power. There's really powers behind them, and all that stuff. So I guess I come away with this basic thing, is that we are going to get the people that we deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the scripture I heard, if people call by my name, the one, if they will humble themselves,
mm-hmm.
and that's the whole thing, and he'll pour out. And I think it's that level with where we are now. What's hidden has been revealed, and it's too big for anybody to even try. In order to run for president, you got to have a bankroll. You got to get that bankroll by going to lobbyists,
mm-hmm.
and lobbyists going to, so whoever's in there, all these. We look for salvation, and I guess I understand it in the vote, in politics. It ain't gonna get us there.
Mm-hmm.
Just ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying this talk and feel a little more optimistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you?
A little, liberal activists about things, and I don't want to slander Hillary Clinton, but she lost that vote because she lost things because she was a slam dunk. She should have won. She lost it, and I think everything worked out the way the source that controls everything is to bring out whatever is bringing out us as the people.
Exactly.
Get to a point to call on it.
That's good. That's good. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
I was just thinking about it, you know, especially like the Catholic Church being brought up and everything, and that's what I was hitting on earlier. You know, I've shared my experiences over and over again. I've shared them with Leonard, shared them with Captain Dennis, and stuff like that. You know, it's sort of like, what are the conversations, you know, when in certain groups, right?
Okay.
And that gets brought up quite a bit. And there's a lot of people who are 100%, you know, not for supporting a woman or anyone of a different race into a seat of power, and they'll do whatever means necessary. And unfortunately, they use a very powerful tool to push their narrative. And I mean, once again, I'll bring up, how would you feel of seeing someone of your own race sitting there saying right in front of you that it's okay to have slaves as long as you treat them well?
Wow.
Like, and it's a preacher. The one that's supposed to be teaching love and light. You know, so like I see it all over the place. I see presidents use it all the time. They'll use verses, they'll use comments, you know, under God, right? So these people in power will use religion, they will use greed, they'll use whatever they can to keep us distracted. And a lot of America is distracted on religion and greed.
Good deal. Good deal. Go ahead, brother. You go ahead.
So, like, the conversations I've been having with some of them, the conservatives and things like that, you know, the things people say about gay people. You know, how many people do you hear say that they're an abomination and they're this and that and stuff, and it's all based from a religious belief?
Wow.
So if you take that concept and apply it to a whole bunch of people that have literally have been brainwashed to think that women are slaves to men, and you know they're the ones that have to be in power, and then you have to add in, you know, there's another belief out there that says that, you know, how it's, man, dude, this topic of narrative
30 seconds.
is really deep. And because I can speak from the white perspective, it's and the things that I have personally seen and experienced and still do to this day in 2022. You know, there's literally a photograph from a school where a white kid is holding up a noose over a black kid's head in Kansas.
Wow.
So it's, man, dude, and
Gotta
the
keep it
way they
moving,
treat
man.
women.
Gotta keep it moving, brother. Hold on, we got another call that just called in. I think it's and that good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm so fantastic.
Good deal. Good deal. We're now, how you been listening? Do I need to catch up to speed to what we're talking about?
Catch me. Of course, you always have to catch me up to speed.
Okay. Well, we're talking about Gerald Ford, and back he was president back in 75, whatever that term is. After he left office, he was in a forum, and the young girl, a little girl, asked him about a female president. Would there ever be a female president? And his stance was back in, and this was 1989 when he actually made this particular speech. He said that only way it's going to happen is we're going to have a man as president, be it Democratic or Republican. He's going to be the president of the United States of America, and he's going to elect as his vice president a female. He's going to reach his demise. And because of the way the system is set up, she will be catapulted into the president of the United States of America. Now, we in 2022, soon to be 2023, and there have not been a female president of the United States of America. What do you think is going on? And is his assessment true?
Oh, it's kind of hard because we're living in a world where right now, and of course I pray for the president of the United States, with him having COVID and him being an older gentleman, and then we do have a female vice president who's went to an historically Black college, Howard University, and so it looks like that may happen. Let me tell you, you don't get to be in the microcosm of the presidency or the vice presidency unless you're connected by bloodline in some kind of way. So we think that this stuff is kind of haphazard. It really isn't. It's kind of orchestrated, really, to be honest. Then you go to a female president. We want a competent president. How about that? We want a competent president who will value the American ideology of freedom. That's what we want. That's what we want. You're looking at the 1%ers and the 3%ers. They're buying up all the foreclosed properties, of people. And a lot of the people, they did not lose their home, right? Their homes were stolen because their homes are already securitized. When you have a home that's securitized, right, nobody can take it. But we find that there are schemes that are happening in America, and I just consider this so. What Gerald Ford said is that in order to have a woman president, they got to work up to it. They have to work up to it because
do you think Hillary was qualified? Do you think Hillary was qualified?
Say that again?
Do you think Hillary was qualified to be the president?
Well, let me tell you, Hillary was a lawyer, okay? But the Constitution, the first Constitution of the United States said that lawyers should not hold public office. So, a lot of stuff is happening that should not happen. And there are a lot of positions of influence that are being manipulated. And there are we the people that are being manipulated. And, people are stealing the people's money and not doing the right thing by the money. So she was an attorney. She was well-read. She had prowess,
30 seconds.
The likability. She didn't have the likability. I think when you're the president, the one thing that I can say about you men is that, there is a certain stature that people have. I don't know if it's the coolness from, George Washington or Barack Obama or Clinton or Gerald Ford or Ronald Reagan or John Adams. I mean, the list goes on, or Abraham Lincoln. There was a certain stature that they had. So in answer to your question, I think we will, just based on what we're seeing today.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The question is, are we doing good by the American people?
Good deal. Good deal. We're going to keep this thing going. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. We're going to transition over. Before we transition over, I got to play this commercial real quickly. We're going to transition over to our topic of the day. And if anybody have anything that they want to say real briefly, not 3 minutes, but real briefly to the last topic, say it now. Okay. I think we're good. Let me play this commercial here. DKM Media Group and Associates. It's great that you have your new business. Now, what's your next move? Don't let this brick wall block your success. Stop all that worrying and contact DKM Media Group and Associates. DKM Media Group and Associates will get the ball bouncing for you and your business. Great success rates, many avenues to select from. It's up to you. Give us a call today, 770-676-1552. Contact us today, dkmmediagroup1@gmail.com. Celebrate the victory. You deserve it. Now it's much more effective if you all could have seen the drawing that goes along with it. But that's those of you that's actually on the radio, only thing you had was the sound, was the verbiage. But people that's actually watching us, there's a video that goes along with this that actually tied everything together. So let me see. Thank you for the screen. Okay, good deal. Thank you for coming as well. Now we're gonna transition over now to our topic of the day. We're gonna transition over to our topic of the day, and Rico, I'm gonna start it off with you. Rico, you there?
Yep, I'm right up.
Can you, and is it when I say you, not you personally, but it's an understood group thing. Can you change the narrative to fit you? Is that something that people do a lot of time? They want to change the narrative, whatever a person is talking about, not necessarily us here, but whatever a person is talking about, they want to change the narrative to fit them. Is that something that happens in this society often?
Yeah, that happens all the time. I mean, it really ain't nothing I can go into detail with about that. People try to change the narrative all the time. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's based on individual agendas or group agendas. They are changing the narrative just to distract from, what they believe, or to distract people from things that may go against what they believe in. So yeah, people change the narrative all the time, or the other word they use for it is spin.
Wow.
They'll throw a distraction out there and make the conversation go into a whole different direction that really and truly leaves you in the same place and never addresses the issue that needs to be addressed. Actually, like what happened with the last topic, we probably would have just addressed the fact of the electoral college. We probably could have convinced people the reason why they need to vote, because that woman should have won. She had all the votes to win.
That's good. That's good. Toussaint, what did you say to that, man? Can you change the narrative? Can you change the topic to fit your narrative?
Oh, anytime. Say it again. Say it again. Let me make sure I'm clear on what you're saying.
Can you change the narrative to, better yet, the way we got it written? Can you change the narrative to fit you?
Yeah. I mean, if you can think, you can. So anybody can. I mean, we do it all the time. We did it this morning because we do it all. We do it every morning. In fact, we do it every morning.
She said every morning.
I mean, really, because when we try to fix something, we base it on what our stance, what we've been taught, what we learned, what we research, our background, our desires, the way we feel, emotions. We put everything that's in us, and we change the narrative.
Wow.
Every day. Every day.
Wow.
You can get. I got this saying now is, you can do more with we than I. But I don't want to let go. That's why we can't get nowhere. Because it's I. Because we don't want to work with we. Because we don't want to follow I. Does that make any sense? Doesn't that sound kind of crazy?
Kind of cuckoo?
Yeah.
Good.
But really, when you think about it, all you got to do, here I am with my narrative. That's me talking right now. Doesn't make no difference what anybody else is saying, because I'm the only one talking. But as soon as I shut my mouth, which I'm about to do, watch before the show goes out. What happens?
Toya with a T. What do you say to that, sis? Can we change the narrative to fit? Can you change the narrative to fit you? And not saying you specifically, I'm just saying as a whole. What do you say to that?
What narrative are we talking about?
Whatever the conversation is, somebody could throw one. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. If somebody's saying something about police brutality and stuff like that. A prime example, they're talking about police brutality, and the conversation is based on police brutality. And then in the course of the conversation, somebody said, well, what about black on black crime? That's different. That's a different topic. And so does that something that happened often?
Yeah. So for some reason, humans have a hard time being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have a hard time being honest with themselves. Then they got a hard time getting outside of themselves. Nobody ever wants to give anybody more than what they got. Everybody wants to sin, but then call out the other sinner. Like, you're not a sinner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you going to hell because you smoke crack, but I'm gay. What?
Yeah.
The child molester sitting up there talking to the rapist. You gonna go to jail for raping the women, but you touch little boys. What the hell is
hey. Mm-hmm.
That's what us humans do. Again, the devil.
Mm-hmm.
That is a demonic spirit, a possession. You're not even being honest with yourself. You're not even considering anybody else but your own selfish ways. You ain't loving nobody but yourself. Talking about what about black on black crime?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we see white on white crime every day. Shoot them up. Start with y'all first. You kill your mamas, you kill your kids, you killing animals, and then you're talking about black on black crime. Man, we get it from you. What are you talking about? Y'all, our ice wasn't cold enough. We want y'all. So everything y'all do, we want to do. What are you talking about? We're talking about one specific thing. And it ain't got nothing to do with black on black crime. We're specifically, if the topic is talking about white male savagery, and then you're going to come talking about, oh, what about black savages? No, that's not what we're talking about right now, sir, ma'am, it, shim, he, whatever you want to call yourself. But this is what the devil does. This is how the devil possesses people. I used to be like that. Running around being a whole hot, not getting nobody, having sex with who I want to have sex with, didn't have no qualms, no nothing, and I was wrong as hell.
Good.
But my mind was possessed. And that's what go on with a lot of people when someone's coming to you telling you, you know, hey, my boyfriend just beat me. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, girl, I don't feel love, divine beat. You know what I'm saying? So that is a possession that I believe now that allows you to not consider the other person or not consider the reality of what's going on. Like the white lady who, I want my doors open. Listen, I don't care nothing about that man not giving me
30 seconds
life insurance. Because my husband gonna take care of me, and long as my husband, listen, if I vote for anybody else, if I vote for a black woman, do you know not only my husband not gonna pay for my medical insurance, but no more doors getting open, I'm gonna have to work harder and feed myself. Honey, I'm finna have a cold shoulder. He already cheating on me. So now I'm really gonna be in trouble if I make a choice or decision that seems right. So I gotta go with my needs. That's a possession.
Wow.
That's a possession.
Kurt, what's on your heart, brother? Do we do that? Do we change the narrative to fit us? Kurt, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here, bro.
Talk to me.
We do it all the time. And it's going to become so prevalent that it's a trick. It's all a trick, man. It's all a trick. You see what I'm saying? It's to throw the rock and hide the hand. Like, for example, not the last election, but the election before that. I heard you mention earlier about the email thing, right? The email thing. And before the email thing even became prevalent, it was, you black folk, what do you got to lose? Then all of a sudden, it was everything that these people playing games with people's lives. Everything that you could have addressed or that you would have thought was wrong, this man literally, through everything that he was doing out there on the other person. So he made you look at the other person. While you looking at the other person, he going in your back pocket. You see what I'm saying? So like we change the narrative all the time, you know, and sometimes we'll change the narrative in the middle of starting a narrative. See, the change of the narrative is to create a start of another narrative that that, you know what I mean, will send you down. Here's how I look at narrative changing. It's all set to take you down a rabbit hole. Now, we all know that once you go down a rabbit hole, there's a slim to no chance, there's slim to none, you're going to be able to get out. And if you do get out, it's going to take you so long to get out that you're going to forget that you even went down the hole to start. So, you know, yeah, absolutely. We do it all the time. I mean, it's some cats that come on this show that'll do it in a minute, especially when you're talking about certain people or certain forms of government or certain situations. So, yeah.
Good deal. Let me go to and what's on your heart? Do we do that all the time? Do we change the narrative to fit out at whatever we want? Can we change the narrative to fit us? Do we do that at that?
Well, you know what? All the time. You know, whether it be, you know, a certain Bible verse, you know, to another Bible verse. And look, I'm a Christian woman, but we do change the narrative. And guess what? There's only one narrative. It's the truth, and it's facts. You know, let's deal with the facts and the truth. And you know what? When you guys brought up, I'm sorry, Gerald Ford and a woman president, you know, what I see is the narrative. You know, a lot of it is, you know, consequential thinking ahead of time, some 50, some 100 years ahead of schedule, that, you know, somebody's showing what is going to be done. Why are we behind the 8 ball? You know, when you talked about Gerald Ford, there is so many things that go with that, from Kamala Harris to, you know, to her husband, and when he was born, and, you know, he was born on October 13th, and Margaret Thatcher's birthday is born on October 13th, and these are the power dates of leadership. And guess what? Isn't it amazing that I just happened to be born on October 13th?
Get out of here.
That's just...
Come on
yes,
now.
I was born. My mother produced me on October 13th. So with you talking all of this stuff, it's really a prophetic language that we need to look at the prophetics of what happens. And how about this? You had me do something different. I said, well, let me research this. How about the White House was constructed on October 13th?
Come on,
1792.
So look here. So Annette, you running for president?
You know what? You know, I ain't trying to do that, but you know, it's just crazy. But you're on to something. No, and I think right now I'll just do the U.S. Senate.
There
you know,
go.
And who knows how the catapult goes. But you guys are on to something. But I believe that it's a deeper meaning, and it's a deeper meaning of how do we put people in place, instead of the media driving the narrative. Right? We need to look at what is all behind that.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to Badger. Badger, what do you say to that, man? Do we change the narrative to fit us?
Yeah, people do it all the time. A lot of times when people don't agree with a topic, they'll either not speak on it or start talking about something else. Sometimes people don't want to talk about uncomfortable things, so they'll change the topic. So it's so to me, it's just one of those things. I'm always more interested in why are they changing the narrative. You know, for me, like, I try to stay on the narrative and things like that and give my opinion on it. I don't have nothing to say, then I'm just not going to speak. So to me, it's a pretty simple, straightforward response. Yes, people do. Why do people do it? And
exactly.
To me, that's the thing.
That's the thing. Absolutely. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother? Do we change the narrative to fit us? Do we do that often? Is that something that happens a lot?
Well, you know, yeah, you can say it that way if you would like. But one thing about a narrative, a narrative is about what's connected. In order for a narrative to exist, something has to be usually connected. People usually try to line up with certain narratives if that's the way they believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, for instance, you know me, we've had certain conversations.
Yeah.
And if I'm on a person's radio show, I try to figure out what the narrative is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
If the narrative on shows, if the narrative is woe is the Negro, count me out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't sit around and talk about how awful it is to be black or anything like that. It's not my narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Black folks can't do this or that. It's not my narrative, bro. Women shouldn't do this, that, or the other. That's, if you want to stay in the narrative, that's the guideline. You usually connecting it to something, some type of event or whatever that may be connected to that. And then you actually come up with what you believe is the right way to go, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so the narrative should change when necessary. Narrative is totally just a group of related events that people try to fit into. A lot of times you have people that go out of their way just to be so different that it don't make sense to nobody.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that's not much of a narrative at all.
Mm-hmm.
If it ain't connected to nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So it just really depends on how you use that term and what is your intent for using the term narrative.
Gotcha.
Narrative is usually there's some story there. There's something connected to it that why people bring it up.
Do you think there could be some kind of motivation to why a person will change the narrative?
Oh, most definitely. It's all it's all behavioral. It's all motivated by something.
Mm-hmm.
There could be an agenda,
Mm-hmm.
where someone is trying to get support for something. So they have to create a narrative of suffering to sort of get people to look at it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
our narrative as it relates to police brutality. Look at how long it took to build a story that everybody looks at now. That ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
What's the narrative?
Exactly.
Racism.
Mm-hmm.
Racism within law enforcement that
Mm-hmm.
leads to certain behaviors, that leads to a phenomenon of the death of African Americans in custody and law enforcement.
30 seconds. Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
a narrative of that particular issue.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? Ibrahim, we can't hear you, brother. You might need to call in. Something going on with your line there, brother. Something going on with your line. Let me keep it moving. And let me see who am I gonna go to right now. Let me go to Dr. Cook. Dr. Cook, what do you say to that? Do you think people change the narrative to fit themselves?
They do it all the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think
In
that
every
is?
situation, people discuss something and then they'll put themselves in if they just use themselves, they just place themselves in that particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're basically not talking about us or I. With any situation, people always put themselves in it in order to explain that particular narrative,
Mm-hmm.
what they would do, what they feel, what should be.
Mm-hmm.
But we do it all the time, and I think it's a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's sometimes it's being selfish. But
Mm-hmm.
we put ourselves in the narrative at all times
Wow.
because
Wow.
I think that's something that internally that we just do.
Mm-hmm. Now I held on to this gentleman here for a reason because I definitely want to hear what he have to say. Mr. Hicks, what do you say to that, sir? Do we do that often? Can we change the narrative to fit what we want? We talk about one thing and somebody come in and just change the whole narrative because that's not what they want to talk about or it's not effective for them or it goes against them or whatever. What do you say to that, Mr. Hicks?
Wow. I looked up the word. I looked up the definition of Wikipedia for narrative,
Mm-hmm.
and it says the process of presenting a narrative, broadly defined, is one of four rhetorical modes of discourse. More narrowly defined is fiction writing. And I thought about I saw these skits one time on all the different news stations doing different issues during this last two campaigns, and how they use the exact same words, and they end with exactly a narrative. And it's, I guess the basic thing is, it is sort of fiction writing, but raising kids, raising children, right, and watching them develop and noticing the difference in them. We used to have these family meetings when something went away in the household, and all the kids sit around, and the different ages and the different experiences, they all saw things different, and they all had different parts to add to the conversation. Like the 6-year-old in the get a different thing with the 12-year-old talking. So it's almost like I watch how you run this broadcast. You allow for the individual insight to a person, even though it might appear to be off track, but it could be something valuable to the whole, or maybe a small part. But I think that's perspective. We all see things different. We come from our experiences, and the narrative is the fiction writing, and that's a thing you have to learn to grow over the years, like how not to embellish yourself. That having that humility to if somebody's gonna beat the drum, my mom used to say, like, don't beat your own drum, let somebody else beat that for you.
Exactly.
But but good talk. I'm here.
Good deal. Good deal. Ibrahim, and good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Hey, doing good. Good to have you, brother. We asking the question, can you change the narrative to fit you? That's something that happens often. Somebody talking about something, and then somebody gonna just flip the subject, change the whole thing up and talk about what they want to talk about. Ibrahim, is that something that happens?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do that. I do that, change the narrative, because if it's derogatory to something that you believe in, it's derogatory. You can change the narrative without interfering in the flow. Now, some people maybe not pick up on it. That what you're trying to do. You're trying to change a negative into a positive. You see. I heard earlier that someone was mentioned about woe the Negro. And anytime that happens is, I understand the problem, because, me being a Negro, my entire life and being raised by Negroes, and being the son and daughter of Negroes, you know what I mean? Then I know that the problem. When I do history tours, I change, in spite of that, this is what we accomplish, this is what we do, this is what we're capable of doing. Now, change the narrative. And I can go completely opposite and be derogatory, but change the narrative to suit you. If you're listening to something, you have a different opinion, or let's say a similar opinion, but you want to maybe more enhance something, or enhance yourself for that matter, then the narrative can be changed. And I think it's appropriate to be changed, because that's an open mind. Now, if you're just going to stay on one type of dogma and then let that narrative go on and on and on, like the crime rate of Negroes, how come we're doing this and doing that? Now, you can either go along with a dogma, or you can go completely against it, or you can enhance it by changing the narrative of a more positive outlook and things that can be done, a solution to a problem. Because people tend to deal with problems, and if you don't understand the problem, you have no solution, right? And I think that's what happens a lot of times. And that's why I try to, if I see some benefit of the narrative need to go into a different direction, or need to maybe slightly alter its direction, then I think that's appropriate. And I think that's done constantly. And in a political situation, you see this all the time. They'll change the derogatory into positive, or they take a derogatory thing and then enhance. I think that Trump was famous with this, and Trump supporters. They can take something and then turn into and take and run a hold of it. And a lot of people do that. They take and run a hold of something, and they'll show the utmost negative, or use a negative scenario in order to. That's a debating tactic. You take a negative scenario and you show that these people are negative, like Democrats are negative. Democrats do this. Now that's impossible. Nobody can do completely, like they can name the whole party or everybody in the party in a certain light.
30 seconds.
But that is why you create a narrative to create debate, and nobody can argue against this, because it's your narrative. So you can alter the narrative. All right, thanks.
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, you there?
Yeah, I'm right.
Rico, let me ask you a question. Our topic is, can you change the narrative to fit you? I went to everybody that's on here and I asked them that question. Will the narrative ever change throughout the course of even asking that question?
No, pretty much everybody stuck to the script.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody pretty much stuck to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was some very good answers and responses, opinions about what narrative is. You know, and you asked some good questions. You know, it really boiled down to, you know, how can it be used? You know, I was glad Ibrahim went the direction he went in, because I was definitely headed that direction. You know, sometimes, well, I ain't gonna say sometimes. Most of the time, people change the narrative to give momentum to their cause or their agenda. But sometimes people change the narrative just to open your mind. It might not be their agenda, but they may be giving you the point of view or perspective of someone else that may be going through something. It doesn't have to actually pertain to them. So I'm changing the narrative just to open your mind. Man, Ibrahim knocked it out the park, man. You see, there are so many issues or instances where changing the narrative doesn't have to be negative. Like changing the narrative that white is superior. But changing the narrative that a woman can't be president. Changing the narrative that a black man couldn't be president. So many narratives that if for you to change the momentum of that belief system, you have to go out there and change, put momentum in the direction of your agenda or your cause. Okay. And the fact that you are disrupting a lie. Now it's a bad thing when somebody uses it to promote something negative. Well, I don't even want to call it negative, but at the same time, they don't want to hold their cause accountable, like with the Second Amendment rights and the NRA. You know, I believe in gun rights, but there are certain things that they probably could do a little bit better to make society safer. But they have their own agenda. They have their own cause that they're fighting for, to the point to where they will use spin and distraction to change the narrative every time, to always keep doing what they're doing and not hold themselves accountable. So, I mean, you know, that is something that really, it really depends on the person. I think you really have to keep your eyes open for it, and know that it's a tactic. You know, that was another key thing that Ibrahim said. I was going to bring up debates. That is a tactic that is used in debates.
30
seconds. Some people don't understand when it's being used. They're only listening. They're only following. You know what I'm saying? They're not really thinking for themselves. But when you think for yourself, you actually can identify when somebody is trying to spin a narrative.
Exactly. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
Yeah. Does pouring Coca-Cola down your tank save you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just thought I'd change the narrative. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It can't be nobody but me.
Lord. Boy, you can't do no but laugh. Can't do no but laugh, bro. Tucson, when we move on, man.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. Kirk, talk to me, brother. Kurt, you there?
What's up?
Talk to me.
Right here, bro. I had to hit the mute button.
Talk to me, man. Change the narrative. Can and like something like it's been stated, can that be a good thing that someone do that, or is it always a negative thing? Or are they disrespecting your conversation?
No, it's not always a negative. Sometimes you got to change the narrative because the negative is becoming too prevalent. So you can't even really get any answers, or you can't get no resolve. So you have to change the narrative to then turn around and come back to your original premise. So it ain't always negative, but the way it's being used now, it's being used as a trick and a ploy. See, before, you know, at one point changing the narrative used to be, you know, like it wasn't a con man's game. It was a lot of times used to gain some form of understanding. But nowadays it has become the numero uno to the con man's game. You see what I'm saying? you know, hide and seek. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy, but you just gotta be vigilant enough to be. You know, that's one of the reasons why I'm a strong and fervent believer in even at the elementary level. If we can figure out how to do it at the elementary level, is to truly start teaching our young folk critical thinking. Because see, I think that's a part of what our element in society has gotten so far away from, especially now that we use, I'll give you a change of the narrative. Woke people are not good people. Right? Mm-hmm. So you changing the narrative, because at one point the woke man was the enlightened man. Mm-hmm. So the woke man was the man for which society would look at and say, okay, hold on, are we right or are we wrong? But now the woke man is now the enemy, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing that just blows my mind, right? Is that what are you saying? Now I'm gonna switch the narrative. Well, I can stay on the same narrative. What are you saying if you're saying that you want me to follow a man who is consistently asleep? Mm. If he driving the car, what's gonna happen?
It's not gonna turn out good unless it's a Tesla.
It's not gonna turn out good for us, man. Mm-hmm. So now I'm seeing seconds. Where they're using the terminology woke as a negative terminology to dispel truth, to be able to hide and manipulate and move behind a lie. And I think we as a society have gotten so comfortable with, you know, I don't know, man. In human behavior, they always tell you that the most difficult thing to do is change. Mm-hmm. Humans just naturally have a difficult time in facing change.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
But you still got to stand on some level of truth, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, what do you say to that? And that, you there?
Yeah. I was on mute. Yes, we always have to stay to a level of truth. Guess what? Just because you think that you woke doesn't really mean that you're woke. We all come from different municipalities. We come from different states. I was born in California. Mm-hmm. So in Los Angeles, West LA to be exact. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the bottom line, at that time, early when my father was in real estate, you know, he bought property also in the Black community, but they had a redlining problem too. So, you know, a lot of stuff I do believe is convoluted, so that there is a people that might not have the understanding. But what I do believe is we gotta help people understand what's going on around us. What do you need? Mm-hmm. Okay, what is your skill? What's your purpose, and how do you prosper? I think those are the four tenets that really should happen. Because what is, you know, that old adage, time waits for no one. Mm-hmm. You know, let me tell you, time ain't wait for anybody, because everybody has their playbook, from the NFL teams to the, you know, to the NBA teams. But guess what? What about capitalism? Mm-hmm. We have to look at capitalism, securitization, how Wall Street rolls, how the 1% and the 3%ers roll, how the doctors roll to give, you know, seniors all these kind of medicines. And I understood it when I went to the doctor with my mother. He was trying to give her all kind of stuff. He was trying to refer her to this and that. I said, Doc, stop. Mm-hmm. Doc, stop. My mother, 81-year-old mother, is okay. Stop doing it. And then he told my mother that she needed to give me a spanking. Why did she need to give me a spanking? She really didn't, but because he couldn't drive his narrative. Mm-hmm. So everybody, in your question or your query, there are so many industries that are driving their narrative, and we have to question, what are those narratives? right?
Mm-hmm.
Parmalat, the company, foreign company produced milk. They got busted for securities fraud, right? Because they were padding their books. There's so much going on, and I think a
30
lot of
seconds.
people are behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Leonard, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
I'm listening, and like when you said woke, for instance, there are a couple of narratives out there about woke. Wokeness. What is it to you? Because some people use wokeness as a general term. Because if you're talking about woke, then I must be an insomniac. Because woke, say for instance, to me, relates to something of particular injustices in society, particularly racism. That's what wokeness is to me. It's not everything. So that's different for different people. I think that everybody should take advantage of information. This always got like calling it something, but like I said, when you say woke, that's what I thought of. I don't know what other people thought about it, but the narrative related to being woke has to do with being alert to injustice in society, specifically caused by racism.
Wow.
Now that don't have anything to do with other topics. I wouldn't use woke for anything else.
It doesn't fit.
Well, I mean, it just depends on what you were asleep to. But what I hate the most is the assumption is that everybody else stupid, and because you just learned something, everybody needs to go along with you. Or you like one. I think one thing that irritates me. Me and Badger was talking one time. What I don't like is don't guess what me. Don't guess what me. Guess what? And I don't have time for
keep
that.
us divided because they know if we're together, we'll take over.
State your opinion or your fact or your evidence.
True.
But don't guess what me. I'm too old for that. You know? So we have to be very clear. Like, say, for instance, if you're going to have a conversation with me, you have to be prepared that I am going to question you about things I don't understand. If you say a word I don't know, excuse me, I don't know that word. I'm not going to pretend like I know it or make something up just to fit in. Because I really want information and I want it to be as true as possible.
Exactly. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Got a call from the 331 area code. 331, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm calling from Illinois.
Okay. We're actually.
Yeah, I was just listening in. I was reading a real quick article this morning.
What's your name?
Looking it up. I don't know if you could hear me. Sorry about the typing.
No. What's your name? Can I get your name?
Tom.
Okay, Tom. Nice to meet you, Tom. Go ahead. What's on your heart, brother?
Well, like I said, I was looking at an article, and I wanted to read it out, just part of it.
Okay.
If I may, I think it might be important.
Okay. We keep everybody at 3 minutes with the comments. So go ahead, brother. We'll give you 3 minutes.
Oh yeah. It's a fast little snippet.
Okay.
So the article says, I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45.
Okay, I don't know where he's trying to go with that. Exactly. But let's keep this thing going. We that's a whole different conversation. Toya with a T, what's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, that threw me off. That we talking about changing the narrative, like how that just happened.
Exactly.
And I don't even know what narrative that was. I mean, I'm just saying.
That was just foolish.
But yeah, I know, and that's what we got to be aware of. See, this country we live in, so many people have so many mental problems, and the pressure of everything that goes on in this country and what we are subjected to and what we have to endure and what we have to go through, it causes and forces a lot of us to have psychotic breaks, like a child being in an abused home, and that's just the only way of life that they know. And when they get out, they don't know how to become civilized or even have a real grip on reality because of all the abuse and all of the misguided treatment and training, man. And this is real. And this is the majority of our America and why we cannot stay focused. Because they have us mentally in such a place to where there's nothing we can do. And it's not only the white males, right? It's not only the black males, the black women. It's anyone who, I feel like this, don't have a God to stand on. Because even if someone has a God, even if it ain't the right God, there's still a certain kind of focus that they have with their agenda.
Exactly.
There's some of us that are just all over the place, and you can tell that there is no structure of a God, and I'm not saying a good one or a bad one. You can pick whoever you want to. I'm with the Most High. So if you want to pick a losing team, then you go right on ahead. But what I'm saying is there is no coach that guides a lot of us in America, man, except for this American nightmare that we trapped in. And we can't have decent conversations because too many of our mindsets, it's not on that level. And I thought about something when Miss Jackson came on. She's a black female. I'm a black female. But do you know how much I've been through that she probably can't even identify with? She probably cannot identify with, and she probably can or can't. But there are still a lot of women who can't identify with being molested, being raped, being a drug dealer, being drugged, being kidnapped. You understand what I'm saying? There's so many different things that make different people that some people just cannot identify with.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't mean it's not a relative reality for them. So I think that we have to learn how to be very strategic when we deal with real life personal issues that you can't face. You know what I'm saying? And we really have to be honest when we listen to people that have conversations, because it's true. Everybody's comments are important, right? And coming on this show, you want to yield that respect to everybody. But then when you start having a conversation and you sound abnormal, right? Then like we just had a few minutes ago, now we got to cut that off. And there's a lot more of that going on.
Absolutely.
So thinking about changing the narrative now with that last call, I don't think it's always like a thing we do on purpose. But now I think a lot of these narratives are being changed simply because our mental health and our level of comprehension and understanding is just not at the level it needs to be to handle these specific responsibilities and issues from a majority of people that live in America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Hold on one sec. Hold on one sec. I got to go to Willa. I hadn't touch Willa. Good.
Okay,
Willa,
all right.
Willa, good
okay.
morning. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Raheem. Hey. Good morning, DKM.
Good morning to you, Willa.
Good morning.
How you doing this morning?
I'm so much better. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Raheem, for asking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's on your heart about what we're talking about? Changing it. Do we change the narrative to fit what we want to talk about majority of the time?
Oh, for sure. For sure. You know, and I got to tell you, and I got to tell Toya, boy, I love me some Toya.
Yes, Lord.
I love because she keeps it real. I mean, and she hits it on the nail all the time when she talks about that Holy Spirit, and she talks about how God is in her life. And that's right. The director of our lives, you know, who plans to orchestrate all those things in our lives. But what makes us, it's a natural thing for us to change the narrative sometimes, because the question when you ask us what's on your heart.
Yes.
Now, what's on my heart might be different than what's on your heart, or Rico's heart, or Lynn's heart, or Badger's heart. So I change what we're talking about, but I try to stay on the same subject, but I do it to kind of identify the experience or the truth, or the opposite of the coin. Like sometimes you will say, well, I want to play the opposite of the coin sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, we might be positive this way, but let me show it in a negative way. Why? Because we're all different, Raheem. And we receive things in a different way. So whatever category, should I say, is you are as a human,
Yes.
that's how you're going to receive it, by what's on your heart.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to say right here.
Good deal. Good deal. And Willa, when you pray today, I want to go ahead and put this before I forget about it. Badger's family has come in contact with COVID, and I'd like you to add that part in your prayer when you pray out today.
For sure, for sure.
And that you wanted to say something, sis.
You know what? I love it. I love it when we communicate. I love it when we conversate. Toya, I love you. I don't have to experience what you experience to know that. Let me tell you, I grew up in LA, and I'll tell you, I was chairman of a group that fed, housed the homeless, all that kind of stuff. So let me tell you, sis, I got it. I may not have experienced it personally, but I have been at the leadership arena for all of this. The leadership arena for those who are in prison, the leadership arena and being on the board of the DeKalb Juvenile Court, taking my basketball, because I'm a former college coach, into the youth detention centers. Hey, I can't wait to just really have a conversation, because it's important. And I am so empathetic and sympathetic. And of course, we have a group of street groomers. Let me tell you, we go out in the streets and we do amazing exploits. So it's important that there are those propensities of which people go through, but you bring them out. A veteran in California, I had to keep flying back and forth to California because she experienced all those things that you were saying. And guess what Annette Davis Jackson did? Made sure that she was there in court because they were trying to railroad her, and I got her out. And she was just a passenger in a drop-top Mercedes. But she was pinned to a whole lot of stuff. But all of her experience, it's amazing of what happened. Being molested in the military, all that. So sis, let me tell you, I may not have experienced it personally, but I've been by the side of those who have experience to bring them out. And that's what an apostle does in the church. It brings them out. So I love this. Raheem, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good deal. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, Raheem, we have to understand that when the narrative is shifted, we definitely got to learn to understand why. Because the why will answer the what, the when, and the how. Oftentimes, we don't want to answer the why because I'm going to be honest with you. The why is, how can I word this? It is difficult. It's difficult to look at. It's difficult to face. The truth is very, very inconvenient for most men, and women. And one of the things that I love about Toya is Toya manages to live and exist in her truth, whatever that truth is, however it happened, whenever it happened. And she can live there because she understands, although this was my truth, I'm tapped into a source that can move me from one state of entropy to another, something greater. And that's what's missing in our modern society, is we so stuck in one state that we don't even understand the greater state that comes behind. But like with that call that you just had, we have to understand that we live in a state where ignorance has become bliss. To be ignorant means I don't have to be accountable. If you line all this stuff up, right, if you take, let's just take, for example, and I'm going to land a plane right here. Let's just take, for example, the mass shootings, right? If you look at the why is basically they were ignorant about the population and the situations and circumstances that have gone on in America. Because of that ignorance, that their spirits were in a place where they could be easily manipulated into believing whatever it is,
30 seconds.
even though we know what they're believing is a lie.
Exactly.
Right? So because they were able to be manipulated, now they went out and did this crime of atrocity. Instead of, if they would have just lived in their truth, they could have said, you know what, that ain't redlining ain't right. You know what, chattel slavery, that wasn't right. You know what, intergenerational wealth, that's not right either. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, man, my sister, I tell you, I rocks with him.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I got from that whole little prank call, whoever that was calling, they listening. They're listening. Y'all get ready to put your seatbelts on. Put your seatbelts on, everybody. Tucson. They don't tell him what we about to get. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
I gotta apologize because I didn't know that I sounded just as ignorant as the guy that called. I did the same thing. But I was trying to make a point.
Yeah.
That it's so easy to change the narrative. Don't have nothing to do with what we're talking about. But here I come talking about pouring Coca-Cola down your gas tank, changing the narrative.
No, you're gonna mess up the whole car.
But then the guy calls, and he has our ear, and we're listening for this guy that sounds like he's going to make this point to bring it to add to the conversation. But he comes in and just rips apart everything we're trying to
Foolishness.
And leave us dumbfounded, like the guy that's looking in the air and he gathers a crowd and everybody crowds around him, and somebody finally asks him a question. They say, what are you looking at? What are you doing? He says, I'm just trying to see how many foods I can get to look up.
Wow. Wow. That's good. That's good. Mr. Hicks, talk to me, sir.
I'm just listening out, bro. Just listening.
Okay. Well, actually, we are about to get out of here, man. It's straight up and down 10 o'clock right now. It's straight up and down 10 o'clock, man. It's been a great broadcast. We covered a lot today. Anybody got anything before we get out of here?
Be kind. Be kind.
Be kind. That's good. That's good. Rico, what's going on?
Hold on. I just thought about something going on. And it was saying that about October 13th, right? That's your birthday. That sounds like a good date. But if you run for president, I ain't voting for you because your track record bad. You made a challenge for a tennis match and you ain't showed up yet. Then you issued a challenge with that.
You know what?
And then you bagged out on that. Your track record ain't looking too good. So don't run for president until you straighten that out. When you
know what? Hey, Rico, let me tell you, I'm handling some real estate, but guess what? I've never backed out on that. We never set a date, and guess what? It's still open. So
hold on, Rico.
No, I never backed out on that, and that is still open. Let me tell you, we're gonna have everybody come in for Rico and I. No, don't do that. Don't do that, Rico. But guess what? Thank you for bringing it up because it's still open. Okay.
Well, Rico,
it's still open.
Rico, if you remember like I remember, I said, and she right, we didn't set a date, but I said just let me know when you're ready, and we'll go ahead on with playing. Do you remember that part of the conversation? Rico, hold on now, hold on.
It was a date set. And it was supposed to be you. It wasn't supposed to be me. And then she backed out on this mess. We got started with that men leaving the house or the women pushing the men out. Started that mess.
No.
Got on this
Let's let me go now. Let me go now. Hold on, y'all.
Not true, Rico. Not true, Rico.
Y'all hold on.
No, I am so competitive.
Okay.
Not true. Guess what?
We gotta go. We gotta go.
Love always.
We gotta go. Boy, look here, boy. This is, you never know what you're gonna get on the Morning Glow. This is the Morning Glow, man. And my thing about it, man, and people that's listening, I hope they can hear the love that we have for each other, man. We really, genuinely love and care for each other on this broadcast, man. And that's
right.
and that's the best part of it all. I got to go right now. I got to go right now to Rico. I got to go to Willa. You think you think she's here?
Man, I know she here, man.
What?
I was waiting on her, but she finally showed up.
Well, let me do this then.
Joe.
Willa!
Raheem!
I'm going to say it again. Willa!
Raheem! Come on, Raheem.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Man, I am so ready. I am so ready, Raheem. Let me go. Let me go.
Well, watch this. Watch this. Let's go.
Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you. We thank you, Lord, for allowing us to get up to see another day. Father, we thank you. We thank you, Lord, for all you're doing in our lives, oh Lord. Father, we're asking a special healing this morning, Lord. I'm asking you to touch Badger and his family, Lord. Father, you said it in your word that by your stripes that we're healed. And Father, we stand on your words and your promises. And Father, we believe it in the name of Jesus that you've already done it, Lord. All you're waiting just us to praise you, oh Lord. Glorify you. Father, we thank you for what you do. Touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Whatever's in their heart, oh Lord. Father, you already know it, but you said that we have not because we ask not. And I'm asking you, oh Lord, to touch their hearts, protect their families, keep their children safe, keep Raheem and his family safe. Father, thank you for this show, for being an inspiration and a change to someone's life. Thank you, Lord. We honor you, glorify you in Christ Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
Only thing you can say to that is amen. That's all you can say to that. Amen. It's been a great broadcast, man. I want to thank everybody for joining us more than that. I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:04. You're about to exit the Morning Glow, but before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day, and please, please, please be blessed. Love you. See you tomorrow morning if God says the same.